Good morning class, Sairam. So today the first topic that we are going to cover is refraction at convex surface. Here we have one object that is placed in front of this convex surface, and this distance of the object from the pole can be denoted by small u, and one incident ray goes from this object to this side, and this point is called A, at which this incident ray strikes. After refraction, this ray will move towards this point I, means it moves towards the normal because ray is moving from rarer medium to denser medium. Okay, and we have to drop a perpendicular from A to this side, this principal axis. Suppose your AM is perpendicular drop. In that case, we have to denote these three angles. Angle made by object with x-axis is alpha, angle made by image with x-axis is beta, then angle of the center line, or you can say this normal line, with x-axis is called gamma. Now by exterior angle theorem we can say that I equal to alpha plus gamma, and this gamma will be r plus beta in the second triangle IAC. And we have three relations, that is tan alpha equal to MA upon MO, that is perpendicular upon base. And for a small angle, this tan alpha can be written as alpha. So alpha will be your MA upon MO. Similarly, we can determine tan beta also. Here you can see that tan beta equal to perpendicular AM upon base MI. Okay. Similarly, tan gamma will be MA upon MC. Now we have to apply Snell's law at point A. We know that sin I upon sin R by Snell's law will be mu2 upon mu1, or for a small angle we can write it I upon R equal to mu2 upon mu1, or we can cross multiply it. We will get mu1 I equal to mu2 R. Then we have to replace value of I and value of R in this equation. If we will replace all these values, we will get this equation that mu1 upon PO plus mu2 upon PI equal to mu2 minus mu1 upon PC. Now P to O distance will be minus U as per sign convention. Then P to I distance will be plus V, and P to C distance will be plus R. Now if we will put all these values, we will get relation that mu1 upon minus U plus mu2 upon V equal to mu2 minus mu1 upon R. Now next topic that we have to understand is lens maker formula. With the help of this formula, we will try to design the lens, or we will try to find relation for the parameters in lens like U, V and F relation. So we know that for the first surface, that is L1PN, we can write that mu1 upon CO plus mu2 upon CI1 equal to mu2 minus mu1 upon CC1. Now listen, that this I1 is what? This I1 is the refraction. This I1 is the image formed by the first surface. Okay, then for the second surface, this I1 will behave like a object and its final image is formed at I. Now for the second surface, that is LP2N, you have to apply the same refraction formula that we got in our previous derivation. So we will write mu2 upon minus CI1 plus mu1 upon CI equal to minus mu1 minus mu2 upon CC2. Now this object will be considered placed in a rarer medium, and that object rays are coming from denser medium, and object is formed in rarer medium, but rays will be considered coming from denser medium to rarer medium. So we can write mu1 upon CO plus mu1 upon CI equal to mu2 minus mu1 into 1 upon CC1 plus 1 upon CC2. Now we have to use these values as per sign. Then substituting the values with sign convention, we will get 1 upon V minus 1 upon U equal to mu2 minus mu1 upon mu1 into 1 by R1 minus 1 by R2. So this is called refraction formula, or you can say lens maker formula. and with the help of this formula we can get relation for focal length also. Now here, if your object is considered at infinity, then we know that image is formed at focus. So here this object u value will be infinity, and instead of v we can write focus point. So we will get 1 by f equal to mu minus 1 into 1 by r1 minus 1 by r2, and this formula is called Lensmaker formula. We can also write from here that 1 by v minus 1 by u equal to 1 by f. This is called your thin lens formula. Okay. Next we have a optical instrument that is called prism. Here in prism we have basically this triangular surface that is ABC, in which one incident ray that goes in this direction, it makes some angle, suppose I with normal, and normal you know that is a line that makes a 90-degree angle with the surface. Then after refraction this ray goes from this point I to E, or from this particular point P to Q you can say, and that it moves or it refracts from this second normal, and this emergent angle is small e. Now if we join this line, or if we join the first projected line of incident ray to the second emergent line, then we will get this angle of deviation delta. So in quadrilateral APOQ we can see that APOQ, your angle A plus angle O will be 180. These two angles are equal to 180. Summation will be 180 because n1 and n2 are normal, and we know that these two internal angle will be 90 and 90 degree. So total sum should be 360 degree. So we can write A plus O equal to 180. Now in triangle OPQ we can see that triangle O, P and Q. Okay, in this triangle all three angles are 180. That means R1 plus R2 plus O equal to 180. Now in triangle DPQ we can see that DPQ, in this triangle your delta will be, delta means this angle, this exterior angle will be this internal angle. Okay, that is I minus R1 plus E minus R2, because due to this vertically opposite angle, or due to this property, this internal angle will be I, and similarly this internal angle will be E, total angle. Then delta can be written as I plus E minus R1 plus R2 if we will rearrange this. Now we know that from equation 1 and 2, that is from this equation and this equation, we can write A equal to R1 plus R2. Okay, and from 3, equation number 3, this delta was I plus E minus R1 plus R2. So we can write I plus E minus A, or I plus E will be A plus delta. So we can conclude that sum of angle of incidence and angle of emergence is equal to the sum of angle of prism and angle of deviation. Now we have variation of this angle of deviation and angle of incidence, that is delta and I. By practical observation we conclude that this graph is obtained in this form, and at this particular value, that is when I equal to E, your deviation angle is minimum, and we can say that I equal to E and R1 equal to R2 at this point. Okay, this rating you will get by practical observations. Now refractive index of material of prism A can be given as R1 plus R2, and here both angle will be equal in case of minimum deviation. So we can write R equal to A by 2, and here we can say that I plus E equal to A plus delta, or 2I will become, because I and E are equal, so 2I will be A plus delta M, or I will be A plus delta M by 2. Now according to Snell's law, we can write that mu equal to sin I upon sin R1 or sin I upon sin R. So now we will replace value of I, this is value of I, A plus delta M by 2, and value of R, that is A by 2. We can say that refraction by a small angle prism for a small angle of incidence, mu can be written as sin I upon sin R1, and it will be sin E upon sin R2. Here we have assumed that incidence angle I is very small, and R1, R2 and E are also very small. So we can replace signs of angle by themselves. Means instead of sin theta we can write theta. So here mu will be equal to I upon R1 plus, and we can say mu equal to E upon R2 as well. So your I plus E will become mu R1 plus R2 equal to mu A, or I plus E equal to A plus delta. Okay, so if you will solve this, you will get delta equal to A into mu minus 1. Then we have dispersion of white light through prism. We know that when white light is incident at this particular surface, or you can say at normal, then this get split into different colors, and in this pattern that is called Vivgyor, because mu is different. Basically mu is different for different color of light. So mu is minimum for red color and mu is maximum for violet color. So on screen you get this pattern, that is called Vivgyor. Next device we have, that is called compound microscope. In this we have basically one convex lens, that is called objective lens, that is kept near to the object, and we have one lens that is called eye lens, that is kept near to the eye. With the help of this we can magnify our given object AB. First of all, the image of AB formed by convex lens will be at this point, that is A dash B dash. Then this A dash B dash will act as an object for the second lens eye lens, and this eye lens will make its image A double dash B double dash. Okay, then here we can determine the magnification, or you can say angular magnification. So angular magnification is defined as beta upon alpha, where this beta is what? This beta is basically angle made by the final image at the eye, and alpha angle is the angle made by object when seen directly. Okay, when both are placed at least distance of distinct vision. So here we know that m equal to 10 beta upon 10 alpha, and for a small angle we can write alpha equal to 10 alpha and beta equal to 10 beta. Then from the diagram we can write 10 beta equal to A double dash B double dash upon D. This angle 10 beta we can write A double dash B double dash, this perpendicular upon base. So finally we will get our answer, that ME equal to 1 minus VE upon FE, or ME equal to 1 plus D upon FE, or final magnification is M equal to V upon UO, VO upon UO. Here you can replace it by VO upon UO into 1 plus D upon FE if you replace V equal to minus D, or minus 25 centimeter. That is called least distance of distinct vision. Now if the object is placed very close to the principal focus, okay, and then objective and the image is formed are very close to eyepiece, in that case you can replace your UO equal to FO and you can replace VO by L. Then magnification formula will convert into minus L by FO into 1 plus D upon FE, or you can write in case of normal adjustment, or you can say when image is formed at infinity, this M will be minus L upon FO into D upon FE. Next we have astronomical telescope. Here in this telescope basically we have one objective lens that is bigger in size, then we have one eye lens that is kept near to the eye, and rays from infinity are coming that forms the image, tiny image at focus, and that image will act as an object for the second lens, and that second lens will form its image at infinity, so we can easily see the given object. Now focal length of the objective is much greater in this case, and when we compare it with eyepiece, and aperture of the objective is also very large to allow more light to pass through it. Here we can see this aperture is very large and this aperture is very small, or this objective lens is eyepiece lens is very small. Now here we can see that angular magnification or magnifying power can be given as again beta upon alpha, and this beta is angle subtended by image at the eye and alpha is angle subtended by the object when we see it directly. Okay, and both the image formed at infinity. Now for a small angle we can write alpha equal to 10 alpha and beta equal to 10 beta. So your magnification will be 10 beta upon 10 alpha. Value of 10 beta is this one, and for 10 alpha we can write this value, so that we can verify all these values from the above diagram, and Fe to Fe will be cancel out. We will get here my I upon minus Fe and minus I upon Fo. So your M is Fo upon Fe, that is focal length of objective to focal length of eyepiece. This total length of the telescope in normal adjustment is Fo plus Fe. Here you can check that this distance between eyepiece and objective will be Fo plus Fe, because object image is first formed at first focus Fe, then for the second focus, for the second lens, this focus will behave like an object. This distance focal length will behave like an objective length or object length distance u. Okay, so that's why we can say that Fo plus Fe equal to L. So this was all for today. Thank you. Sai Ram.